Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my 4 best bets for tomorrow's race in action. Now before we get stuck into that, first of all I just want to apologise for uploading this video a little bit later than usual. Always normally like to do it a lot earlier, around about 7 or 8 o'clock, but I'm not actually recording this until 11 o'clock in the evening. Been a bit of a busy day, and I've only just had time to get back and do the research and watch the replays from earlier. Watching the replays from earlier, it appears that we haven't had a great day. The only thing that went in our favour was that Betty Grable didn't win at Hamilton, so our lay of the day at least came in. But yeah, away from that, our nap, chairman of the board, didn't really get into the race too much. Travelled okay for some of the way, but just wasn't good enough to win on the day. I think it was our Arcanada for Tom Dascombe that won that one at 18 to 1. Bit of a shock result, but if you go back through some of its form last season and the year before, it's always been a classy type. Normally runs well at places like Chester and Haydock, like Tom Dascombe's often do. But yeah, it's just a shame our selection couldn't follow up again. Our next best, Fleet and Prince, 40 ran a solid race, but again, he just wasn't good enough to get involved on the day for Charlie Hills. It looks like he tried his heart out, but yeah, like I said, just wasn't good enough on the day. And then our Longshot at the Curragh, Queen Jojo, maybe the opposition were a little bit better than I originally thought on paper, but again, she just couldn't get involved, and that was disappointing there. And our other selection, Surf Dancer, well, it was probably a good thing he was a non-runner in the end at Windsor for William Haggas. Not sure why he was withdrawn, possibly the going, who knows, but definitely want to watch out for him again in the future, and I think he'll be one to watch later on in the season. So yeah, that's how our tips ran today, but hopefully we can do a lot better tomorrow and actually have some winners. Obviously, as I see quite a few of you probably have joined after our good day on Saturday where we had Caravan of Hope, we had 15-1 each way pick in the Derby come in, and also as well we had 2 other winners with Glen Shiel and Nikazaki. It's the way it goes sometimes. You tend to have a good day and then you might have a couple of bad days and then a good day. It's all about the long term. But for the month of June, we've had a pretty good month overall. We're up in profit. Yeah, the week before the Caravan of Hope day, yeah, it had been a bit ropey, but apart from that, earlier on in the month from Royal Ascot, we were up for the majority of the month, and hopefully we can stay strong until the end of June and finish on a high. But we'll get straight into the tips for tomorrow, and like I said, we've only got 4 for tomorrow's racing, and we're actually going to be going to Yarmouth for our first tip, which comes in the 1:30 at the Norfolk venue, and I'm going to be going with a horse here called To Empress, and this is going to be my nap. Currently 10 to 3 with bookmakers at the moment, and is trained by Amy Murphy. I know Sheen Murphy's but for the ride, no relation as far as I'm aware, but Amy Murphy's team, very good trainer, underestimated in my opinion, are going along quite nicely at the moment, operating at 20% strike rate. She does well over flat and jumps, but this horse has been a good yardstick for her, done well in the lower end of things, but ran a fair race last time I thought at Chelmsford, and was unlucky to finish 6th when the money came for it. Sylvester de Souza was booked that day and got not his greatest ever ride I've seen from him. I was quite badly hampered if I remember against the inside, but tomorrow he's going to be reverting back to turf and is now rated 57, and this is £1 lower than when it won at Brighton on the turf last season over 7 furlongs, and I just think that this is quite a weak contest tomorrow. His turf mark, this horse, is actually £3 lower than his all-weather mark. He's been seen to more better effect at places like Chelmsford in the past, but I think this is not a bad move by Amy Murphy, but bringing him back to the turf where he's well treated now. And I think at 10 to 3, if he can rediscover his form from last season, he's definitely a dangerous horse in this race, and that's why he's going to be my nap, and I think he's definitely the one they've all got to beat, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he maybe went off at 9 to 4 or 2 to 1 come post time. So that's going to be my nap. We then go with my next best, which goes at Windsor in the 150 with a horse called Coto Donana, I think that's how you pronounce it. Going to recommend this one with a dirty each way bet of 11 to 2 for Holly Doyle and Ed Vaughan in the colours of the Oppenheimer family, obviously associated with the likes of Cracksman and Starcatcher and now Frankie Darling, you know, always good connections to watch out for. And Holly Doyle and Ed Vaughan teamed up last year with a nice filly, I think she's still in training, called Dame Malio. I think they might have won maybe a Group 3 on her, but they definitely won a nice listed race. But this horse I think dropping back in trip tomorrow is definitely an interesting move. Now, this horse ran over this trip on debut at Lingfield when she finished 4th, but then she made her seasonal reappearance at Newmarket a couple of weeks ago, and the form has already worked out okay because the John Gosden horse that won that race went and defied a penalty again at Newmarket, and this horse was quite well fancied in the betting on the day at 7-1, so it wasn't like they were expecting a poor run. They were obviously expecting a good run. She was quite keen, but maybe just got tired in the last furlong and needed the run. But I think it's interesting they're dropping her back in trip. She's by Kingman, and actually if you look on the dam side of the pedigree, there's a whole variety of horses that she's related to over different distance. She's related to some stayers, she's related to some sprinters, but Kingman seems to be effective more probably, I'd say, over the mile trip. But saying that, I think maybe over 6-7 furlongs this horse can do very well, and I don't think it's a particularly strong race tomorrow. There's quite a few horses in here that have had a couple of chances now, where I think this horse maybe has a bit more potential to give. She'll get the fillies allowance as well tomorrow, and Ed Vaughan's team are in fairly good form, operating at 27, they've had 2 winners from 7 runners in the last fortnight, so they're going along quite nicely, and I just think this daughter of Kingman tomorrow has a good chance. And I think at 11-2, I think this horse will go very close. And again, I think the money could come for it, and maybe could go off maybe a price around about 3-1, 10-3, that kind of bracket. But I think this horse tomorrow's got a solid chance. And if you can still get the 11-2, definitely worth a small dirty each way punt. We then go my lay of the day, which comes in the 2:30 at Yarmouth. Going to lay Blackheath here for Tom Marquand and Ed Walker. Now, Tom Marquand is going very well at the moment, racked up plenty of winners last week after it was announced that he's not going to ride English King in the Derby. But this horse, I thought maybe was a little bit high in the weights. Now £3 higher than its last winning mark of 84, now rated 87. But it did run okay when it finished second at Haydock, but I don't think the form is that great in the context of this race. There's some nice horses in this race that I think might have a bit more to offer. And Blackheath, he's 5 years old. I don't know if he's got that much improvement to come, but I do respect Ed Walker. He's a good trainer now, doing really well for himself. But I just think that this horse maybe is a bit too short. Currently 9-4, you can back with most bookmakers, but you can lay the horse for 4.3 on the Betfair exchange at the current time of the recording. And I think this horse well dressed on the day, so if you can get on a low liability with a lay bet, I think this horse won't be winning tomorrow, and I could definitely make a case for several others that I think will beat this horse. So for me, in the 2:30 at Yarmouth, Blackheath is going to be my lay of the day. We then go my Longshot, which runs in the 4:45 at Limerick, the final race over in the card there at Ireland tomorrow. And I'm going to go with a horse here called War Eagle for Joey Sheridan and PF O'Donnell. I tried really hard to find out his first name, but I don't know what it is. I've not heard of the trainer before, but taking this horse into effect, I think this horse could be fairly well treated tomorrow. Now, with the £7 of Joey Sheridan, that's really going to help. And I thought he ran okay last time on his seasonal reappearance and stable debut when he finished 5th at Fairyhouse. He plugged on really nicely, shaping that he probably needed the run, and the form has been boosted somewhat to a degree because Tonkinese, who finished second in that race for Joseph O'Brien, won the Apprentice Derby at the Curragh on Friday, so the form has been boosted. And this horse was previously trained by Ian Williams on the flat and had some fair pieces of form to his name, for the standard of racing he was running in. And I just think he's fairly well treated at the weights, and you can currently get 28-1 with some firms, and Boyle Sports are paying 5 places on the race, which I think is a fair chance here to take, especially with the 5 places. This horse, he might not win very often. I think he's only won 1 career start, which did come on the weather, but he's got, like I said, some good turf form with Ian Williams, and if he replicates that, he's a massive player in this race tomorrow, and I think he can definitely give us a good run for our money with small stakes long shot bets. So yeah, they're my 4 best bets for tomorrow. So just recap quickly: in the 1:30 at Yarmouth, Blessed to Empress, 10-3 my nap. We then go to the 150, which comes with my next best with Coto Donana, 11-2 dirty each way bet. 2:30 lay of the day at Yarmouth, Blackheath for 4.3 on the Betfair exchange, and then War Eagle in the last at Limerick, the 4:45, 28-1 each way, 5 places. So they're my best bets for tomorrow's race in action. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe here for more videos on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter as well, where my handle is @LuckyLoaders15. Also as well, if you want to check out the Telegram page that I started up earlier last week, click the link below and that will send you to the group where we've got a nice little tipping community going now. We've got over 70 people in it, and it's a great bit of crack. So click on there if you want to be part of that, and you can also check out my website, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.